Okay, little afternoon meditation and more of kind of talking about some more stuff, maybe try to describe it a little better. Okay, from my introduction into mindfulness. All right, so here we go. So, yeah, the main thing here is focusing on your breath. So, for me to, where kind of that idea kind of becomes more user friendly is if you take a deep, slow breath, kind of let your lungs gravitate your arms up, all the way up. As you fill up your lungs, it seems to just, you'll be surprised. There seems to be some naturalness about it, some kind of cohesiveness, like it feels right or something. Like the mind could be releasing a little dopamine or something, some type of when you inhale. You'll start to notice these things when you meditate. And it's not a crazy idea to think that you're starting to like notice your body and work better with your body and experience it's your body's biology better. It's chemistry better. Um and if you do it as a practice, you'll see. Go read the literature. Go read what somebody said about their experience with meditation. They'll probably say something good, something positive, because it's this practice of like this experience, mindfulness, where you focus on your breath and you start to just kind of, I don't know, you know yourself better, or you interpret yourself better. Maybe you do this practice and this work on your brain where it's kind of having a better relation to the narrative in your mind, your biology, and it starts to change you, you know. Um, so let's do a little mindfulness. Here we go. That was powerful. Okay, so, all right, so last time I was talking about kind of my introduction into mindfulness, meditation, and maybe I gotta slow down a little bit. Describe what I'm talking about a little bit. Where my headspace was. So, um, So I went to school for biology, and um, what I take away from it, uh, well, let me think here. I think I took away from it this idea about life and the an idea about life that its narrative, whatever it may be, and if we're going to try to describe it, we would need to kind of build or invent some parameters so we could make it interpretable. We could have a conversation about it. And so for me, biology, that, studying all that stuff, it kind of left me with this idea that molecules will um and I say will like instead of would like because I'll get into that. I said that so they will like to break down into their lowest energy state. Molecules will break down into a lower energy state if they can, for some reason. Let's just say because they like to, or it's favorable. And but they will maintain complex structures, organisms, under the right conditions. And that within itself is, kind of, yeah, it's a phenomena. Why do they like to break down into lower energy states, yet they will maintain a structure, if they like it. And so obviously there's a lot in there in an idea like that, and there are a lot of ideas on the table. Do they do that because they have to? Because it's kind of the way it works. Maybe an idea like predestination, like they just gotta, and that's really all, that's kind of just an observable, uh, like maybe Einstein would say that. They just gotta. To him, maybe that'd be an observable fact about the universe. They just gotta. I think he said God does not play with dice. So, his math about the universe and all those great ideas and those ideas, containing a lot of materials to build those ideas, to try to describe what's going on out there. Maybe, and so then it builds, uh, you know, what does it build? It builds kind of an idea about space-time, or really it builds an idea about like how light travels, I guess. About it's an idea about tunnels, more or less pathways running across the universe. Which, yes, so, and for him, I think that for him to understand it, I think it was like he kind of used mathematics to paint the universe and used math to describe all that. But then he says God does not play with dice. So then whatever kind of superimposes itself upon that, an idea like predestination, um, whatever superimposes itself upon that narrative of mathematics he used to describe with the space, whatever superimposes itself upon that position just makes it gots to be. It's gotta be. It's like an idea like predestination. It just is gotta be, you know? Um, so whatever also is doing that in biology, like why do organisms maintain a more what would seem to be more complex structure and not break down, even though it seems like they like to break down if they can. Um, what maintains that? What narrative to the what narrative of life contains the materials that when superimposed upon some observable facts that we have about the universe makes it gots to be like it's gotta be, you know, makes it so. Um, so yeah, so for me, when I went and studied biology, it kind of it left me with the idea that molecules in life like to break down. And then do they like to would break down, or if they could, and that is kind of like, well, they don't, they won't, under the right conditions. So it's this idea, I don't know, there's like maybe something superimposes itself upon another dimension or realm of reality, which makes the cocktail of being able to put parameters on reality, um, and describe it and talk about it, have a conversation about it. And so, yeah, why the beetle? Why the human? Why doesn't it? Why did it get to be where it won't break down? It takes a lot of time. Um, or these organisms, they work really well, amazingly well. Um, basically as long as they can, I guess. And then they give in to the the time, or and I wanted to so I wrote some things down here, and I'm gonna go ahead and make a new video here.